catch a lot of mackerel. Usually, this time of year, they always they um they move on to hot waters, but now they're coming back.
So I was thinking about like that, all those things, like we go with the flow of nature, right? We were looking at observing nature and
Mm.
putting our stories onto it, putting
Mm.
our stories into it. So it's like we see doing, we see changes, we see things, we see action, right? We see energy in motion. We see action, we put our stories to it, and that makes our reality. So it's like, Craig, you were watching the bee, right? The bee, nature, the bee, the bumblebee, the honeybee, the whatever bee, right? You saw the bee being and doing. Both of them we put stories to.
Hmm.
Now, we can't see their being. I can't see your being.
Right.
Like, I can't see that, meaning like your emotional energy. Now, we can receive it, we can read it, but we
Hmm.
can't see it like we can see the action,
Right.
the doing. That's confusing.
Can be.
But yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, but it is the way that it goes. It's like the emotions help create the actions. And again, like we spoke, I think it is the alignment between the being, so the emotional engagement in the action.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's the alignment of the being and the doing.
It's like yin yang.
I think so. I think so.
So the flower and the bees, the flower, yeah, one part, and the bee is the other part.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like need each other, right? Rely on each other.
Mm.
It's like we look at all the reasons why things. Hmm. So we look at all the reasons why things are different than they are, right? I mean, that's observing, right? We see what's there, and then we look at all the differences to define what's there and what's not there. Yeah. So here's my point to that is that I think we've made up our lives is all about the doing, and we've left behind the being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the recovery of that, the reemergence of the being, is the time that we're in now.
Yeah.
So we are connecting the dots in order to find the missing dots.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So when I use the term recovery, what I'm referring to is the releasing of unconscious reflexive behaviors.
Mm.
Automatics,
automatics. Exactly.
reactions.
Yes.
And those are not easy to catch in the moment.
No.
It's like catching anger before it starts.
Yes.
Well, then not very often is anger instantly brought on.
Yeah.
Usually it's an accumulation of what we call frustration beforehand.
Hmm.
But it slowly accumulates. And that's the practice of awareness. It's like sensing that accumulation before the top blows off the top.
Yeah. Which brings you back to awareness.
Always back to awareness, because the awareness is the known, which helps with the unknown, which is the unknown of the unknown.
Yeah, and that's why I said unconscious reflexive behaviors.
Yes, great. The
Yeah.
very deep, the roots of our personalities,
Yes.
the essence of our energy, of our being before there were words. And yet, really, in reality, before there are words right now to explain it, to identify with it, to be aware of it. There. It's like our journey through life is awareness.
Mm.
And
That's how it all started.
yeah, with no
Before
destination.
we before we learned to speak, we were reacting to the vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it was like really before we could even see.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's pre-senses,
Mm.
pre-physical
Because
senses. Yeah.
because we were feeling our mother's emotions
Yep.
Mhm.
in our development. So we were in her eyes. Fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. There's part of the gene keys transmission that goes into what you just said in depth. It follows those patterns that were created, like from the time you were 21 all the way back to the time when you were conceived. So that's an awareness pathway called the Venus sequence.
Mm.
And is Venus, would I associate that with love as well? Like
Yep.
Venus,
Yep.
love,
Yep.
the
Yep. Yep.
Oh.
so
Yeah. Everything you've learned about love through your physicality, through your emotions, through your mental faculties.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it actually works backwards. It starts from your mental faculties, and then you go back into your emotions, which are developed between 7 and 14, and your physicality, which is between 0 and 7.
Mm.
And then back into your core,
Blueprint, yeah.
which in this case is in the current human, it's actually a core wound. And that was developed when you were in utero. So yeah.
So that core wounding is developed from your mother.
Right. Yep.
It's a version of your mother's wounding, huh? So that's why keeps the family out of alignment.
Yeah, exactly.
We keep looking for one or the other and finding it, right? We find the opposite of it.
Yeah. So, and part of the transmission is about in the future, like the future human will have a lot less of that to have to work through.
Yeah.
But right now in this generation, we're dealing with a lot of that ancestral stuff.
We're dancing with our baggage.
Well, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
We're learning how to dance with our luggage because in the past we haven't dealt with it.
Right. Yeah. Instead of dealing with it, it's been passed down and magnified. But it's not being magnified anymore because it's in the awareness now.
Right.
It's actually being looked at.
Yes. Right.
And sat with.
Discovered, right? Explored.
Yes.
Processed, like all the stuff that, like, we've done it before. We just have gotten distracted.
Yes.
Meaning we knew how to do it. We just something has distracted us, and I think it's the experiment of greed, right? Has it distracted us.
Yeah. So in the research around childhood near-death experiences, which are different, quite markedly different from adult near-death experiences, but the child who has one, there's a many-year delay between when the event happens and when your being gets around to processing it. Sorry, I just dropped my phone. You still hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I was just thinking about what you said. So the child who experienced the near death, they carry it and they process it in. Maybe they don't have the tools. Maybe.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. And for me, like in my experience, what I'm discovering is that that's part of a lot of that had to do with forgetting my true nature, forgetting who I actually am. You know, that I'm a soul in a physical body.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And then for me it was about 46 years later that awareness started opening up. And the symptoms started showing up, which were kind of like a catalyst toward recovery, or an initiation of a recovery sequence. That's been going on for almost 20 years now. And all of that before that point, it was all unconscious.
Mhm.
But as awareness expands and as I look back on my life experience, what I realize is that there was a lot of gifts and wisdom and experience
Mhm.
that developed, outside of my consciousness. Like, it was just, I wasn't aware that's what was going on, and things like intuition,
Mhm.
things like body sensitivity to energies, those kind of things. And now I get to live the rest of my life in the awareness of those abilities
Mhm.
and actually utilize them intentionally
Mhm.
and purposefully.
The difference from the society we live in now and when we live as tribes, back then they had a lot of adults to guide, to teach and so we miss that nowadays. Spiritual, yeah, especially spiritual guide.
Yeah.
There are so many levels of awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, since you touched on it, I'm going to add something to the Venus sequence. It's like between the ages of 0 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you become aware of your physicality.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the understanding around that is that your physicality and your spirituality are very closely linked to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And
as a child, we how we see everything as play. Yeah? So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then
And
like
play is spiritual too. It's spiritual activity.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So that's all linked. Your spirituality is linked to body sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
and its sensitivity to the energies that are around it. So it's kind of like it's a tie to your physicality is a tie to your own energy field as well, and the energy fields of others, and the energy field of the collective, and the energy field of the planet.
Yeah, we see that in animal kingdom too. They learn by playing too. Right?
Yeah, and all that stuff's operating whether you're aware of it or not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the real gift is getting older and awakening and becoming aware that that's that's what you're working with. That's what everybody's working with. So when this hummingbird comes and kisses me, he's interacting with my energy field.
Mm. Like attracts like. You're high vibration right now. Mm.
Right. Yeah.
You get grounded, by being out there.
Yeah.
Grounding is so important too.
Yep. Yep.
Get in touch. Yeah. That's how we tap into our true nature too, by grounding.
Yeah. Yeah. And your being can influence your whole toroidal field.
Mm. Yes. 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 Yeah. Absolutely.
And the expressions of your DNA and et cetera, and your well-being.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's all wow. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Now I'm being visited by 3 tiny yellow-breasted birds.
Wow.
Yeah, what an awesome day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow, they're pretty.
They tried them.
Yep.
How far away are they?
About 5 feet, 4 or 5 feet.
Are they same color? Or?
Yep. Yep. They all have this really amazing yellow breast, and what's neat is the sun's coming up. It's just above the horizon.
Nice.
And and as they look and move around, the sunlight's catching them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I just imagine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I'm sitting here watching a Broadway play.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We don't go out nature, we go into nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, the indigenous, they know eastern one animal and plant. They were one with nature.
Yeah. Yeah, nature has an amazing intelligence.
Yes. It's all about giving. They give so much.
Yep.
It's about abundance. And
Yeah. When everybody gives, there's abundance.
yes. Yeah, being out in nature is much better than TV and all that. Yeah, media.
Yeah. Yeah.